partial rededication of some of the funds.
Okay. It's giving the parish some flexibility, and the Constitution requires that the parish doesn't pay certain, they're called mandated expenses. Some of the court stuff is mandated, the DA is mandated. The voters have turned down millage requests over the last few years. There's no secret cash of money for these guys. And it's like,
Parish is saying there's just not enough money in the general fund to pay our budgets. It will, in essence, almost shut us down.
You hadn't started yet, have you? How you doing?
Hey.
Will?
Yes.
All right.
You, Kevin?
I am. Good to meet you.
Hey, you too, Kevin.
Come in and have a seat. I have more power. Never mind.
How you doing, sir?
We got
Doing
some
good, doing good.
tea and water, cookies and tea and water if you like. That's handouts for the meeting and sign-in sheet here for your street. Little swag if you want to take some stuff. And we have tea and cookies over there if y'all like.
It might actually be good to put on your feet.
Oh, now help yourself, man.
this isn't old stuff. These are your bad crimes. These are not your good crimes.
Kathy, we ready? We're live. Rolling. All right, guys, we're going to get started. We may have some more people coming in, and we also are live streaming, so we got to watch what we say. So just real quick, want to make sure and everybody know who your board is, just in case you don't. I'm Kevin LeBlanc, current president of the board, and I'm going to introduce to y'all Keith. Say your last name always. Say Keith Bonet. He is first vice president. Allison Pearson, second vice president. Jathan Calhoun is our lucky treasurer. He took John's place. And Kathy Townsend, secretary. Just real quick, before I go any further, a lot of y'all knew John Minton. John's in the process of moving, but I just want to give him a shout out from the HOA. John, honestly, John should be president, but he stuck me into being president because he wanted to be treasurer. And if you're listening, John, you know it's true. But anyway, we want to give John a big thanks. He's been great for the subdivision, really helped us keep our books straight. And Jathan and I are trying to muddle our way through figuring that out. All right, so we got a couple things to discuss tonight, and I'm going to try to move through it. First of all, I invited Jeff Corbin, our representative, to be here to talk about different things. Jeff is out of the country. He wanted to be here, but he told me to make sure if there's anything he needs to address that I bring it to his attention, which Jeff has been real good with helping us with some things we need in the subdivision. So in his place, John sent some people to talk to us a little bit about the two big tax initiatives that are on the ballot. I think, well, early voting stopped, right? That was last.
Early voting stopped. Saturday is the final day.
So it's the final day. So I asked our guests to speak a little bit on that real quick. Joe Impastato is current council for which area here?
Lacombe and Mandeville, District 7.
District 7. So Joe Impastato will speak first, and I think we have a couple of judges may say a couple things, and like I say, we'll move along. Thank y'all. Oh, he got one.
Okay, yeah.
Oh. All right.
Touch it.
We can take this.
All right, thank you all so much for having me here. It's truly an honor to serve you and to be a council member in St. Tammany Parish. I'll tell you, we came into office, we had some really big challenges, right? So government was not working together. So we wanted to make sure that we got everybody on the same page and working together. And I can tell you, immediately or a month after we got in, we worked great with the parish president, worked great with the district attorney, worked great with the judges, we worked great with the sheriff. And as a result of that working together, we've done several impactful ordinances in St. Tammany Parish just in the first year. We did an ordinance on sex offenders, which is a serious problem. Several impactful drainage ordinances, which are going to make a difference. Big ordinance with Jeff Corbin and I did on animal control. Very proud of that one. Ordinance on abandoned vehicles. Several capital improvement projects, including, which to me this is a parish-wide project, right? The Mandeville Bypass Road, which will connect 1088 to Highway 190, but opens up State Park access and Pelican Park access to the entire parish. Much easier. It's a $30 million project done by St. Tammany Parish. Our biggest challenge, though, was to protect the most sacred asset that we have in St. Tammany Parish, which is public safety. I know my dad has a restaurant in Lacombe, and I tell this story. I think Judge Amaker and Judge Kelly have heard it ad nauseam, but I'm going to tell it again. Last year, he was in business here for 50 years. He has a restaurant in Lacombe. And he wanted me to say a couple of words at the party that he was having. And I said, well, why are we here? Why leave New Orleans and come to St. Tammany Parish? Without hesitation, he said, a safe place to raise my family. And I can tell you, I ran for this job to try to fix some problems in my community. And we have several, and we still have a long ways to go. But one thing that has always, to me, been great in St. Tammany Parish is our public safety. I've never felt afraid to leave my car door unlocked. I've never felt afraid for my kids to ride their bikes on the street. It has never been an issue. And that's a three-legged stool, right? You have the sheriff, you have the district attorney, and the judges. You need them all functioning correctly. But the problem is that 5 times St. Tammany Parish government went out for a tax initiative to raise your taxes in order to pay for these services. I voted yes, but I understand why a lot of people did not vote no. So our challenge did not support it. So our challenge was, how do we pay for this? How do we satisfy these needs, take care of our public safety without raising your taxes? So the option that worked was to rededicate up to 17% of our existing sales tax. To be sure I'm real clear, the judges, the district attorney have not asked for one extra nickel. This is to maintain their existing funding. They're going to get up here and tell you about how their office works and the services they provide. But to me, protecting that is priority number one. This does not raise your taxes. Whether you vote yes or no, it does not cost you one nickel more. It is a way of reforming. It's the beginning of tax reform. We also started, along with the district attorney's office, a program called TRACK, which is, see if I can, I started at 4 o'clock this morning, so you got to forgive me. Transparency and Resource Accountability Program. So they have hired a forensic accountant that's worked on a lot of big cases. They're going to help us evaluate every single agency, internal and external, that the council votes on, give us the data that we need to make better decisions with your money. The whole idea is for us to really start to cull down these property taxes so you have a lower property tax bill. And both proposals, and I'm going to turn it over to the judges next, I'm really proud of this because it's the first time I've ever heard of 2 tax initiatives coming on the ballot where if you vote yes, your taxes are lower. One rededicates up to 17%, and the other, the library is asking for $1 million less, which is 20% less. That's the program. That's what we're trying to accomplish. You're going to see more of it. We're going to continue to work hard at it, and we're going to do a better job for you. Because I understand part of the reason I'm here is because my taxes kept going up and my services kept getting lower. We're not about that anymore. The last thing I'll tell you too is in the past, they allowed the coroner to amass a $16 million surplus. That is enough money for him to run his office for 3 years. Nobody ever did anything about it. Did you know that the council could roll back a pass-through agency every year? They just allowed him to accumulate all this money. But here's the catch. We can't touch that money. One of the issues with St. Tammany Parish, and I'm going to do Colin's analogy because it's his favorite, is that every tax, 99% of your taxes are all dedicated. So imagine this. You're a young family. You're starting off your life, and you're setting up your finances. You say, I'm going to put a vacation fund, I'm going to do an automobile fund, and I'm going to do a house fund. And time moves on, and expenses go up, and grocery bills get higher. Maybe somebody, God forbid, loses their job, and you can't pay your mortgage. I can't take my vacation money and pay my mortgage. It's against the law. So I have to go to the Bahamas, but I'm going to lose my house. That's our tax structure. It's antiquated. That's part of what TRAC is going to look at and what they're going to improve. And I promise you, it is a top priority, and we will not stop until we make substantial improvements. And this, voting yes on this ballot, is the beginning of that. So I'm going to turn it over to the judges. I'll be here at the end. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm Judge John Keller, and I'm here with Judge Amaker. We're with the 22nd Judicial District Court. So we serve both St. Tammany Parish as well as Washington Parish. So what we have on the ballot next Saturday is a tax extension and a rededication. It's not a new tax, and I'm going to repeat, it's not a new tax. So what we have in place right now is a 2% sales tax. And that sales tax was first, I think, put in place back in the 1980s. It was then approved again, I think, in 2005, and it is scheduled to expire in 2031. So 6 years from now, it's set to expire. So what we're asking for is a tax extension. So this referendum would extend the tax through another 25 years, all right? We're also asking for a rededication. We're asking for a part of the proceeds from this tax to be used to fund the criminal court system, which includes the court staff, it includes the jail, and it includes the district attorney's office. Right now, this tax is bringing in about $89 million a year. So when it was first enacted, it didn't bring in nearly that much, but the parish has grown, and now it brings in about $89 million. So why do we need this tax rededication and this tax extension? Because back before 2018, the judicial system was funded by a half-cent sales tax. And that half-cent sales tax was in place for a long time, and that's what funded our staff, the DA's office, and the jail. Well, in 2018, that tax came up for renewal, and it was not approved. It was voted down. So since then, the parish has had to pay our budgets, the DA's budget and the jail. They've had to pay us through the general fund. And the parish is simply saying that they don't have the money to continue to pay the budgets that we've always submitted and always had approved. So what did they do to fund us since 2018? Well, they looked to specialty funds, such as the monies that they got from COVID, the monies that they got from the BP spill. They funded us through the monies that they got from the opioid settlement. So they've been kind of finding a way to fund us for the last 5, 6, 7 years. But now those funds are depleted, and now we have to find a way to fund the DA's office. We have to find a way to fund our staff, the court staff, and the jail. And the DA's not here, I don't believe, today, but I've heard several of his talks, and he's going to have to let go a lot of his assistant DAs if this doesn't pass, and if he gets defunded. If it gets defunded, we're going to have to let go almost all of our staff. The judges will still get paid because we're paid by the state. So we'll still get our salaries, we'll still come to court every day, but we won't have our secretaries, we won't have our administrative staff, we won't have our staff attorneys, and we won't have our commissioners. So what is that going to do to us? It's going to bring things to a standstill. It's going to really harm our ability to move our dockets, especially our criminal dockets. So it's very important, this referendum. Some other points that I would again repeat, it's not a new tax. It is just a rededication of an existing tax. The judges are not asking for more money. We're asking for the same budget approval that we've asked for the last 5 years, and so is the district attorney. Again, neither of us are asking for more money. We're just asking that with this referendum, that the parish be able to pay the same budget that we've always submitted. So, the one thing about this is that, well, let me back up a second. Just, we've operated effectively and efficiently for years, and that's why our budget has not gone up. We have 12 judges. We had 3 commissioners. New Orleans, who is about 15% larger than us, has like 36 judges and several commissioners. So we're handling the same amount of cases as Orleans Parish with far less judges. And the only reason we can do that is because we have a very good staff. We have very good administrative assistants, very good staff attorneys, and they help us move our docket. The other thing I'll say is that this referendum is supported by the parish, it's supported by the sheriff's office, it's supported by the court, and it's supported by the DA's office. So that we all know how important this referendum is. I would ask for y'all's support. I would ask that y'all, tell your neighbors, your friends, how important this referendum is. Be sure to stress it is not a new tax. One last thing. This referendum, if it passes, you're not going to pay any more taxes. If it doesn't pass, your taxes are still going to be the same. So whether it passes or not, you're not going to pay any additional taxes. So we would ask for your support. And Judge Amaker, do you have anything else?
You covered that so nicely. You grabbed
Sure. There you go.
Are you as tired as I am tonight? But we're here, right? So that's all good. I can hear in Joe's voice and John's, and you'll hear in mine. We've been on this campaign trail a while trying to get this tax, the flexibility, if you will, to serve you and continue to with the criminal justice system and the civil justice system. I'm a family court judge, but this affects family court very much too. And I hate that you guys are behind me. I don't mean to be rude here. I hope you can hear me. I've done it 17 years, been in this business a long time. And a lot of our time, we're trying to get the court funded. We're a big court system. We have a lot going on, and we don't want to take up, we know it's your homeowners night, a lot of your time with what we do, because I do believe most of the people in St. Tammany think we do a good job. You're safe when you walk out. If you have an incident, the sheriff's office or the police are coming right out. You're getting to go in front of a commissioner. If you have a young person in your family that's committed a crime, you're worried about that. We've got a wonderful juvenile system. We have specialty courts that handle so many things over there. And in family court, we rock and roll. I can tell you, we have handled tens of thousands of cases, everything from child support to property matters to domestic violence. You name it, we handle it over there at the courthouse with, as John said, about a third the amount of judges that the other big jurisdictions have. But what's happened in the last few years is the parish doesn't have the flexibility with the dedication of funds to come in and say this part needs to go to the priority in the district, which is the court system. This gives them flexibility, and it is a great solution. You can be so helpful to us. A lot of people say, well, what is my vote going to make a difference? We know it's going to be a very low turnout. That's why we're here, because you're voters, you're smart, you listen to us. This is good for you, good for your children, good for the long view. This will be in place for years and years to come. As far as the tax extension goes, John mentioned, Judge Keller, and I'll mention to you as well, a lot of other people are for this too. The governor of the state, of course, all of our representatives, all of your people that you have in the legislature are for this. Concerned citizens who in the beginning was not for this years ago when we asked for the tax renewal, they now see and they're in full support of this as well. And we appreciate everybody's support. We're asking for your support. We're here to answer any questions that you might have, but please, please give the parish the flexibility to pay for the priority, which is this wonderful justice system that we have, and let's keep St. Tammany as safe as we've always been around here. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them, and I'll be glad to have Joe and John come back up if you have any. You have any questions, anybody? Yes, sir.
And, because it's kind of confusing, I'm construction.
Yeah.
But the question is you're sitting here telling us about a continuation of tax that was already there, right? Along with telling us that the money that you guys need, you're having to pull it from, right? You're having to pull the taxes that are currently going to be taken for the next 3 years, and you're trying to extend that for another 25 years.
But with those taxes, what's gonna keep them from doing the same thing they're doing now for the next 25 years that they're doing to you now?
Well, we're going to let the chairman of the council answer that for you. I'll give this to Joe.
So right now, we do not have the ability to pull money from those taxes. They were paid before by a tax that supported the courthouse and the jail. So when that tax expired, it went out for 5 different versions of renewals, all an increase, all failed. Since then, it was supported through diverting money from one fund to another. Like we didn't do air conditions this year. We got COVID money federally. They got BP money federally. They call it Deepwater Horizon funds. And that may happen again, which is exactly why we did an up to 17%. The problem is every year they come in, there's no sustainable funding source to take care of their agencies. So imagine you're in business, I have a business too. If basically you don't know if you're going to have income this year, you might, but you're not sure. And they hire a lot of employees at a very reduced rate. So, but the thing is, working with government, there's other benefits, right? You get insurance, you get vacation, but you're not making a lot of money. So they're trying to keep talent and have good employees. And every time they go to the parish and say, well, we probably have to cut you this year unless we get lucky. This gives us flexibility. It's reform. We may not need to use the 17%. We may need to use 5%. There's no telling if other revenue sources come in federally or a state program or something else happens. But if it doesn't, we have the ability to pay the same amount of money that we've always paid. Yes, sir.
What determines the duration of the tax? Why 25? Why not 5?
This one primarily bonding ability. You know, you want to be able to borrow your money, right? You want to be able to, if you do a house or a mortgage, same program. If you're going to do a $50 million, we can have the ability to do 3 $50 million bonds. So when you do a major construction project, that's the length where you can get a decent debt service and accomplish the project. And the other truth to it is, look, that 2-cent sales tax covers all your road and drainage, infrastructure, maintenance, everything. It's sales tax to me is not what's the problem. The problem is property tax. The problem is too many taxes that are dedicated. I'm going to share something else. You have a lot of politicians taking credit for this idea. It's not the idea of any politician. It's your idea. Everybody told us, use what you have. Do more with less. Don't ask us for more money. That's what we're doing. Any other questions?
Good group. We've enjoyed being with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank y'all
thank
for
you.
coming. Appreciate it.
Yes, bye-bye.
All right, and one more tax discussion. We have 2 people from the library. We have Ms. Tanya DiMaggio and Chuck Brandon. So I'm gonna let them speak, and y'all could just keep it to about 5 minutes. I appreciate it.
Yes. Okay. Can you all hear me? Okay. It's feeding there. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, I'm Tanya DiMaggio. I am one of the assistant directors for St. Tammany Parish Library. And this is Chuck Branton, our new vice president of the Library Board of Control. So almost 75 years ago, actually in the summer of 1950, the parish librarian went before the city council of Slidell and the mayor with the demonstration project of the public library. And they voted to have a public library in Slidell. And then that next year, they voted, the residents of St. Tammany Parish voted to have a millage to continue a public library. So we've had a public library funded by a millage continuously for almost 75 years. And what we're asking for on Saturday is a continuation of that millage. The first Slidell branch was opened in a building owned by the Carroll Plumbing Company. And then over the years, it expanded. It was put in different buildings. Some of you might remember when the library was on Erlanger. And then in 1989, we opened the Slidell branch on Robert Boulevard. In 2016, we opened the branch, what we call South Slidell, on Pontchartrain Boulevard, which replaced the Pontchartrain branch, which was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. Now, some people might say, who uses the library anymore, right? Because everybody has the internet. Well, I can tell you in 2024, system-wide, over 1 million items were checked out system-wide, parish-wide. 60% of those were physical items, but that million items does include downloadable ebooks and e-audiobooks. In fact, the judge just told me that she is an avid ebook reader and she checks them out from the library. The Slidell branch on Robert alone checked out last year 118,280 physical items, books, DVDs, books on CD. South Slidell checked out over 29,000 physical items. Slidell and South Slidell branches had 47% of the computer use parish-wide, with almost 38,000 sessions. Over 26,000 people used Wi-Fi inside the libraries. We have Wi-Fi inside, free Wi-Fi inside, but we also have it outside. During COVID, we started putting it outside and people continue to use it. In fact, Slidell has the most use of outside Wi-Fi service with 26,000 people. That's 32% of the whole parish. South Slidell had almost 12,000 outside Wi-Fi sessions, came in second parish-wide. 137,518 people walked through the door at Slidell Branch on Robert Boulevard. 67,000 people walked in at South Slidell. The Camellia City loves its libraries. The citizens of Slidell still love to read physical books. Not everyone has access to the internet or to a computer. And even when you do have a computer at home, sometimes your printer doesn't work. Like right now, my printer is so old, it will no longer talk to our computer. And you know, when things don't work out, the printer doesn't work and your child has that report due the next day, or you have a job interview the next day, you can come to the library. The library offers so much more than books and materials and computers. I can't go through the whole list. It's too long. And I encourage everybody to go to our website and see all of the different things that we offer. So on March 29th, we're asking to continue a 15-year millage. It supports 96% of our budget. It is a continuation. It is not a new tax, but it's the same tax we've been paying for the last 15 years. However, we are asking for 1 mil less. In 2024, we all paid 5.35 mils, which had been rolled back from 5.85 in 2023, so we rolled back. Now we're asking for 1 mil less at 4.35, which comes to about $3 million a year. Why a lower millage? How can we possibly ask for that? Well, for the last 10 years, we've used that extra mill to fund a campaign, a capital campaign. So our buildings are aging and we've had to do some renovation and some upkeep. We started with Slidell Branch about a little more than 10 years ago with HVAC upgrade. And we're going to end with Slidell. But we also paid off, we built the new Madisonville Library, which had a lot of damage in Katrina. We purchased the building for South Slidell. We did a big renovation at Covington. We also, we are committed to the whole parish, even the rural areas, and we did refreshes at all our small libraries. And we're ending with Slidell Branch. We have a renovation and expansion scheduled. We have that money put aside. And you may have heard talk about our fund balance, that we have about $6 million in a fund balance. Our fund balance is not saved for the Bahamas, actually. What we've saved that money for is, instead of bonding out, we've just saved the money for the renovation. So all of our fund balance is actually dedicated money for specific projects. So the money's already in the bank. We don't need any more capital money. That's why we can ask for 1 mil less. If this millage passes, again, your tax goes down. We can proceed with the projects that we have on the books. Slidell gets expanded. If it doesn't pass, We have the money in the bank that we can operate for probably the next 15 months, and we'll use that fund balance to operate the library, and then we'll go back to the drawing table. Did you want to say something?
I'm Chuck Brand. I'm the Vice President of the Library Board. The $6 million we talk about is capital construction, and it's designated for that. The Robert Road branch was built in the 1980s. It needs a new roof. It is our heaviest used branch, and it needs to be expanded to serve the continuing growth of this area. It's right where my kids grew up and went to school at St. Margaret Mary. We do not have any fallback when people talk about the money that we have on hand. We do have a cash surplus, because when you get tax money, you pay your tax bill in December. We get our money from the assessor and the parish through the parish in February, March, and April. So we have to pay the bills January, February, March before that money comes in. So when people say they've got a big cash money, no, it's a reserve to pay bills for the months we know we're not going to get money in. And we are following the state accounting guidelines of having between 5 and 8 months on that. But people use the library. We had 600,000 people come through our doors last year. We have door counters. We had almost 90,000 people come in for one of 3,000 events that we hosted. Slidell is a key part and will always be a key part of the library. We need your support. And I'm going to say something that Tanya's not allowed to say. She's not allowed to say, we need your vote, but I am. I need your votes. I need you to please. It's low turnout. It's going to rain, is what I'm being told. Maybe 10% of the people will find the time to go vote. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Talk to your neighbors. Send a Facebook message, because every vote counts. We manage it for you. We serve for you every day. We're asking you to support us in what is the only chance we have for a stable source of revenue. Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for
Yeah, if you have any questions, and if you have a question, my cell phone number, I'll give it to you right now, 985-768-2782. You want to email me? It's real simple, cnbrandon@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer your question. Or I'll have someone who knows more than I do that. But I want to say thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing us to come and speak.
Thank y'all for coming.
You can also go to our website, sttamanylibrary.org. We have, on the left side, election. We have extensive frequently asked questions with a lot of information. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to proceed with the next item on the agenda. I'm really excited about this. I'm not sure how many of y'all know that we have a county agent. I mean, how many of us remember, thanks, Joe, how many of us remember Green Acres and Hank Kimball? I'm sorry, Will, but that's what I think about. But anyway, I reached out to Will Laffin, who is the county agent or the extension agent out of the LSU Ag Center, and I thought it would be good for him to come talk to the subdivision and let us ask questions. I got 2 on my mind when he's finished. And so, Will, without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to everybody here. Like Kevin said, my name is Will Afton. I work with the LSU Ag Center, Louisiana Cooperative Extension Service. The St. Tammany Parish Extension Office is located in Covenant at the parish fairgrounds there. And it's kind of interesting, you know, all the talk, you know, earlier there about the taxes coming up. We work in the courthouse annex building. So, yeah, y'all think about that when you vote on Saturday. But look, Kevin invited me to come talk about some spring garden topics. So I put together a little bullet list for you here just to kind of go through. And look, spring gardening, I mean, there's all kind of things to do in the landscape. So it's, you know, I'm not sure if everybody does these things, but I'm going to kind of run through it here. But yeah, if y'all got some questions, y'all have some Q&A time with the county agent. So, and I'm completely okay with that example you gave because that's what most people know. Mm-hmm. I just like to think that I have a little bit more sense than
you just got to be a certain age to remember that.
That's it. But look, y'all, my phone has been off the hook the last several days. My email inbox is crazy because people are sending me all kind of, they're itching to get outside and do some things, and they just want to do it right. You know, we had this spectacular wintertime this year, and so now we're all ready to get out there and make those yards look pretty. So I would say by far one of the most popular phone calls that we get this time of year is what to do in the home lawn. So does everybody here manage a home lawn? Do they have a home lawn at the house? Okay. Y'all look, the first thing you want to do, really, know what type of grass that you have. You know, it's not just grass. We grow specific species of turf grass as a home lawn, and knowing what you have is going to tell you a lot on how to take care of it, okay? So if you don't know what you have, make that a goal for summertime. Let's identify the grass that we have. We grow warm season grasses as lawns, and there's several different options out there. You've probably heard centipede grass, St. Augustine grass. Those are probably the most popular species that folks grow in St. Tammany Parish and basically all of Louisiana. But we got, you can grow Bermuda grass as a lawn. We like to use that in sports turfs like Tiger Stadium and all these high school football fields around the state. And then the new kid on the block is zoysia grass. So zoysia grass is a lot of new cultivars come out, so it tends to be the more expensive type, but it's definitely an option for a home lawn. The reason why you want to know these things, I told you, it's all about how you take care of it. So one thing with these different species of turf grass is we mow them at different heights. Did y'all realize that? Some grasses we mow a little taller. Some other grasses we mow a little shorter, and it's all about just trying to create a nice, dense grass plant for your home lawn. So if you grow something like centipede grass, we like that cut on the low side, between 1 and 2 inches tall. All right. If you grow St. Augustine, we let that get a little bit taller. We like to cut it between 2 and 3 inches tall. Bermuda grass, we like to keep that between 1.5 inch. It's a lot finer texture. It can be cut lower without damaging it. And then zoysia grass, between 1 and 2 inches is a good mowing height.
Why?
Well, it all goes back to these grasses kind of evolved with animals feeding on them, just constantly removing top portions of that grass. And through demonstration and research with these different species, we've just found the best mowing height to give the best look and really to provide the best leaf density. We want it to grow nice and thick because that's going to play into weed control in a couple of bullets down. So these grasses actually prefer to be mowed fairly often. It's just part of their nature. So we're just trying to basically replicate that in our home lawn. Just real quick on measuring mowing height. When you mow the grass at whatever deck level you have, you should go out there and measure from the soil level to where it's cut, and that's your mowing height. So a lot of times the deck settings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they don't necessarily correspond to inches. Those are just notches so you can make sure you're in the same spot every time. You might want to calibrate your mower, see where each level is cutting at, just so you have that information available. When we start to mow there, you guys don't let it go too long in between mowings. We like to mow often enough so that you remove about 1/3 of that grass plant every time you mow. For most of the growing season, that's probably about once a week. But, during the summertime when it's good and warm, especially if we're getting good rainfall, which has kind of been non-existent the last couple of years, it can grow a little bit faster with water. So we might have to increase that to twice a week in the summertime. Fertilizer. Everybody wants to ask me, what is the best fertilizer product for the lawn? And really the answer to that is, well, what's in your soil? What's deficient in your soil? We need to add to that. That's your best fertilizer product. So all these various options, it could be different for your soil type. So when it comes to finding out that fertilizer, we like to recommend that you do a soil test. Have y'all seen these little soil sample mail-in boxes? You should have a rack at Slidell Feed Store and Garden Spot for sure, because that's where I send people that call from this side of the parish to go get one of these. So all you got to do is grab this little box and take it home. They're not going to charge you for it. We put these together and give them to them so that y'all can take it home. But you have a package here that you could prepare that sample, get it all labeled up, and you can mail it straight to the lab. This address here goes straight to the soil lab on campus. So what they'll do is they'll run that, and you're going to learn some really valuable information like your soil pH. You can adjust that with certain products. So if it's too low, we can add some lime to it to raise that pH up to that sweet spot for the plant you're growing. And then not necessarily in St. Tammany, but if it's too high, there's an amendment you can add to lower that down. So soil pH is it's a good piece of information to know because it kind of tells you the availability of those nutrients in the ground. And then it also goes through and gives you a survey of the macronutrients there, and you can find out what is deficient. So when you get that soil report back, notate what's medium, low, or very low, and then we're going to find a product that supplies those gaps. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right, so we're trying to supply good nutrition to those grass plants so they can grow properly.
There's Will, there's instructions in the box,
yeah.
like how much soil to.
Oh yeah. So just real quick, when it comes to lawns, and look, you could do a flower bed if you have a rose bed that you're having some issues with and you want to get a baseline reading on the fertility, you can sample that soil. But when it comes to a lawn, I like to look at separate samples for the front yard and then a different one for the backyard. Because y'all think about how they make neighborhoods these days. They start trucking in soil, and you could have different soil in the front and the back with different readings. So by taking a front yard and a backyard sample there, we can, if there's a similarity, we can treat them the same, but in some instances, we treat them a little differently. Some folks even have different species in the front yard and backyard too, so that might be beneficial as well. But when you take a sample, Kevin, so that front yard, you guys, you're going to need like a little shovel and a bucket or some type of container. But you're just going to we're just going to say 10 random spots in that front yard, and you're going to take a little scoop of soil 4 to 6 inches below the surface. You want to sample that soil where the grass roots are growing. So we're just going to go around to 10 spots in that front yard. We're going to dump little scoops in our bucket, mix that up, and then there's a little plastic bag inside here. You'll fill it up completely, and it's got a white sticker on it. You can write the sample name. I like to call it front yard, so it's real easy when you get it back. You'll know where it came from. Sometimes if you go 1, 2, and 3 and you lose your key, then we don't know what's what. So give it a descriptive sample name. Repeat that process for your backyard. Some folks have a huge side yard, so it might be beneficial to look at that separately too. But anyway, y'all grab one of these soil samples. I got a couple on the back. I didn't bring a whole bunch. I thought I had more, but Slidell Feed Store and Garden Spot should have racks.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you recommend if you're planting your flower beds? I mean, I always get soil from like Home Depot or some topsoil and plant my new flowers in the flower bed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think using the topsoil and started using, I can't remember, it's like a compost or cow manure or something.
At the very end, did everybody hear that question there? Add into a flower bed, rework it, need to add some more soil. Y'all look, a lot of those potting mixes in bags and then the garden soil mixes you can get big scoops from at the Soil Depot places there. They're all essentially the same type of product. Okay, they're not real soil. They're just various organic matter mixtures that behave like soil, in a lot of instances like behave better than soil so they can grow plants. So I typically buy what's on sale. But look, if you need a lot, if you're going to be redoing a few flower beds and creating some new ones, you probably want to look at just bulk garden soil as a soil source.
Do you have a recommendation?
No, I can't show any favoritism, but just I would say if you're going to buy bulk soil, look at it first and just make sure it looks to be good. Watch them load it up, because if you just call in over the phone, they might give you the stuff in the bag. So just look at it before you buy it. But it should all have consistent particle sizes. It should look like good soil. It should smell like some finished compost, so you'll know it when you see it.
What about the weeds? I have weeds in my grass.
Okay, look, let's move on into weed control, and we'll hit on that. So just to finish up on the fertilizer thing, once you get soil reports back, you'll know exactly what your soil needs, and you're going to feed that soil with what's deficient there. There's several different fertilizer products out there. We can get into some granular detail here, but I don't think we have time. Y'all just shoot me an email if you get a soil report and you need some help reading that so I can point it out, and I'll tell you what your options are. I can help you with that via email pretty easily. Fertilizer time on a lawn. It's still a little early, believe it or not. I know it's green out there. It's kind of coming back. But when we put a fertilizer product out there, there's going to be nitrogen in it. And we need actively growing plants to take up that nitrogen, or it's just going to run off to the side or leach out through, and the plants won't use it. So I like to hold out till April 1st, or at least until you've mowed 3 or 4 times and you've got most of your grass out of dormancy. So that's the timing on fertilizer. I think it's a little early. I'd wait a couple more weeks and it's probably be A-okay. So, all right, we'll jump into weed control, because we had a question about weeds in the lawn. Y'all, look, the number one thing to help you fight against weeds is to do what you can and build soil fertility with your soil test, and just make that soil, gear it to give your lawn grass the growing advantage, because as long as they're getting sun, water, and good fertility, they're going to grow nice and thick, and they're going to outcompete weeds. So that should be the long-term goal there, is to build up your fertility to have a good, healthy lawn so it can actually fight against them.
Fights the weeds.
Exactly, yeah.
I noticed that they die off eventually when the grass starts growing.
And then, look, they die off. We have 2 seasons of weeds in Louisiana. We have cool season weeds, which are flourishing right now. That's what you're seeing right now. It's all the cool season stuff that's flowering, going to seed so that it can do it again for you next year. Well, we also have stuff germinating right now that's going to grow for the summertime. It's a whole different crop of stuff, like Virginia buttonweed. That's going to start waking up and it's going to start growing as the nighttime temperatures warm up here.
Great.
So we're working on soil fertility to grow a nice, healthy turf. That's our long-term goal on fighting weeds. Look, with Virginia buttonweed, we know that it comes up in low areas in the yard, okay? So if you can modify that growing environment a little bit, your lawn grasses don't like their feet wet, okay? So if you have a slow draining spot, the lawn grass, the turf there is going to thin out, and then you get weeds that can grow in that environment to pop up and flourish, okay? So the fix there is you need to add a little bit of soil in these low areas and raise that up so that we don't have sitting water on the lawn, okay? That can help with a lot of the bad weeds that we deal with. Nutsedge likes lawns that hold water. So if we can improve the surface drainage there, you can actually, in long term, kind of make it not the best place for nutsedge to grow. All right, a lot of people just jump to herbicides, okay? I know there's a lot of herbicides out there. I've got a photocopy sheet on this back table of my common herbicides that I use on a Louisiana lawn, okay? I'll kind of run through this real quickly just to tell you about different types of herbicides. We have post-emergent herbicides. That's what we spray. When we see weeds growing, that's what we're spraying on weeds, okay? Most of the products that we use in a home lawn are what we call selective. They kill certain types of weeds, and then other plants can tolerate it. So the best example there is you got grass plants, like your lawn grass. We do have a few grassy weeds. And then you have broadleaf plants, which is basically everything else except for nutsedge. We have products that you can spray over the lawn that the lawn is unharmed, but it'll kill those broadleaf weeds, okay? Right now, we call this the spring green up period because the grass is coming out of dormancy or whatnot. It's not 100% healthy yet. It's kind of like you when that alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You know, you're not quite ready to go just yet. Our lawn grasses are like that. So we don't like to spray anything on the lawn during the spring green up phase. If you read the labels on these herbicides, they'll even mention that there. So once we get that fertilizer application, once we've been mowing 4 or 5 times, we got a good healthy lawn, you guys could make an application of a product like this Fertilome Weed Free Zone that you can pick that up in an independent retail location like Slidell Feed and Seed, Garden Spot, places like that. I know they sell this. So, but that can be mixed up, sprayed over the top, and that's going to get all your dandelions, your henbit weeds, chickweed, all the broadleaf weeds that we're seeing right now. I have another herbicide just to left. It's called atrazine. Atrazine is an old herbicide. It's been out for 75 years. Okay, atrazine, we can apply that to all of our lawn grasses, and it'll help get some of the grassy weed problems that we have. So if you want to apply that a little bit later to get things like annual bluegrass, that's a great product for you there. When it gets hot in the summertime, we can't spray those two just because when you read the label there, there's an issue there just when it gets above 85, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Just the grass plants are having to deal with heat stress, and they might not be able to tolerate it like they once did at cooler temperatures. So I switched to a herbicide called MSM Turf, all right? You guys can grab one of these sheets back there and see all this. MSM Turf allows us to spray for weeds when it's hot outside. There's no temperature rating there. So that's a good one there. You guys, if you have nutsedge problems, that's the third type of weed, grassy weed, broadleaf weeds, and then you have your sedges. It's kind of that other group. You have to get a sedge herbicide to tackle those. And on here, I have a picture of high-yield nutsedge and horsetail control, and then the name brand product of the same active ingredient, Sedge Hammer. Both of those can be applied in all of our warm season turf, and that'll go after nutgrass for you. So those are post-emergent sprays. Another type of herbicide we use in a home lawn is called pre-emergent herbicide. And these are actually put out before these weeds, weed seeds germinate. We're a little past the early, late winter time that we put out pre-emergent. However, if you don't use pre-emergent herbicides, it's still going to be effective for you because not everything germinates at one time. So if y'all can make a mental note, the first 2 weeks in February is a good calendar time to apply pre-emergent herbicides to prevent crabgrass later in the year. That's coming back from a seed every time. It likes to germinate as soon as those soil temperatures warm up, and most times that happens the first 2 weeks of February. However, you can still do one now. And then the other time of year, which is going to be in the fall, is mid-September. Mid-September application of pre-emergent herbicide would prevent a lot of the weeds that we're seeing in the lawn right now. Okay, so if you're not familiar, you don't use them, try them out. They actually really do a really good job on weeds that come back from a seed. And I would say the most popular product folks in St. Tammany Parish are using is this high-yield turf and ornamental weed and grass stopper containing dimension. If you ask for dimension, they'll know. Okay. Y'all. All right, moving on past the lawns, you got annual color. We'll just call them bedding plants in the trade, but if you want to add some flowers to the landscape, April 1st is the time where you're looking for warm season color. So you're looking for plants like begonias, celosia, marigolds, pentas, periwinkle or vinca, whatever you call it, purslane, salvia, coleus, and zinnia flowers. All that is for the warm season. It's going to thrive during the summertime for you. If you have shady spots, you can look at plants like impatiens, terenia, or wishbone flower. Caladiums add nice color for a shady spot. Magilla perilla is kind of like a coleus, but grows in the shade, real colorful leaves. And then you actually have some shade varieties of coleus there. So if you're looking for some color in your sunnier shade spots, those are some options for you. Spring blooming shrub care. I'm sure everybody's noticed the azaleas in full bloom right now. Let them all bloom out, okay? And then you need to come in and you need to prune them. That's your time to really cut them back to size. If they're out of, if they're too big for you, let them finish this bloom and then go ahead. If you need to remove 2/3 of that bush from an azalea, it's okay to do it this time of year. We want to get that done before summertime because those azaleas will set their flower buds for next year. And if we prune them too late, we're just going to disrupt the flowering cycle next year. This is going to be for all spring blooming shrubs, okay? The gardenias haven't bloomed yet, but once they finish at the end of May, we come in and prune them right after. Same thing I said with the azaleas. Camellias, I know the camellias are known as late winter bloomers, but they're going through their vegetative time. It's time to prune your camellias if you need to do that. Once you prune these things after they bloom, you can go ahead and apply some fertilizer, water it all in, freshen up the mulch, and you've set those plants up to handle the summertime. If you need to add new plants to the landscape, you can still do that now. We like to say planting season is November through February, but we still have cool nights through the spring here, so we're probably good and safe through June.
We have a website you can give these people. You've already spoken 20 minutes of this. This is not why I came to this meeting.
Oh, I apologize, you guys. Yes, y'all look, lsuagcenter.com. Y'all can search there. I brought copies of a few of our popular publications on the back table that I'm going to leave with y'all. And I'll just end with a couple of things because we got some events coming up. Y'all, this weekend, Friday and Saturday, is the North Shore Garden and Plant Sale. It's at the fairgrounds in Covington. We've got speakers coming in with education, and then there's a lot of vendors selling plants. It's a really fun event. If you've never been, you can spend the whole day there. They'll have lunch, even activities for the kids. Later in April, at the Hammond Research Station, this is an LSU Ag Center agricultural research station that experiments on ornamental plants. They're having a spring plant sale on Saturday, October 12th from 8 to 1. That's kind of a new thing for them. They've done it a few times, but it's been a great event. If you've never been to the Hammond Research Station, it's a beautiful place to see. So y'all look, I've got some cards in the back. I'm gonna hand out some cards after the fact because I don't have them with me, but it's got my email address on there. If y'all need anything from the LSU Ag Center, just reach out via email and I will do what I can, or at least find somebody to help you out. So sorry for running over.
No, you did good. I think the politicians ran over. Thank you, Will. Appreciate you.
All right. Yes, anytime. I'm going to hang out and answer any questions. Let y'all get y'all's business underway. Oh, yes, ma'am.
And I will say real quick, before I even had the idea of inviting Will to the meeting, I reached out to him, I think that was last year, because I was having trouble with Virginia buttonweed, took a picture of the weed and sent him an email, and he answered promptly and told me what it was and what I needed to do. All right, so we're going to move on. Oh, Will, let me grab that mic from you.
Thanks for saying that, because I would have taken that back to Mansville.
All right, we're going to try to go through the agenda real quick. Next item is subdivision financials. I had some handouts in the back, and the first one I want y'all to look at, it says 2024-2025 Meadowlake Financial Report. This is our financial position at the end of, well, coming to the end of March. It's pretty up to date, I believe. And just the high points for you to look at, we had a budget for this past fiscal year of $19,950. Now, we'll tell y'all that budget, we borrowed about $4,000 from revenues because our budget should be $15,300, which is 204 homes paying $75, which is our annual dues. So when we put this budget together last year, we had some ideas on some things we wanted to do, so we increased that budget. I will tell y'all, if y'all follow across, you will see that our year-to-date expenses is $16,572, because what we did, we kind of reduced some of the spending that we had planned to do. We decided we didn't want to take a lot of that borrowed money. And so at present, we are $3,000 under budget for this year. But remember, we borrowed money to make that budget. So this is our current financial position. The ending balance as of March, give or take, is $12,500. That's what we have in the bank. Also, at the very bottom, y'all will notice that we have a CD that we have contributed to last year that's earning interest. This is money that we have in our super emergency reserve. It's not reflected in that $12,000. This is money that we have in the bank collecting interest on that CD. It's $10,595. We don't want to touch that money unless we absolutely have to. So we're trying to avoid that. So this sheet shows our current financial position. All right. The next sheet, which shows the Meadowlake proposed budget, is the budget we put together for the current fiscal year based on 204 homes paying $75. And again, for this fiscal year, we borrowed money from our revenues of about $2,000. And if you just follow the bottom, we are putting forth a budget of $16,750. That next sheet shows you what our prior budget was, $19,950. So we brought the budget down. We didn't borrow as much money. And just so you know, you can see what our year-to-date expenses as of March were $16,572. So we created a budget that pretty much matched what we spent this past fiscal year. Now, again, we had to borrow in effect. We're not borrowing money, but we're taking money from our revenue to make that budget. So, questions on any of that?
Community building.
That's things like the block party, the back to school pizza party. We do the Meadowlake Spotlight program, which Miss Heather won one time. So that's what that's for. Any other questions? All right. Where's my other thing? Down there. So one of the things we wanted to talk to y'all about is this handout. It's hard to bring up money in this day and time, but we wanted to show y'all a little bit, if y'all follow through on this thing, on something we want to have a discussion about. The first slide in that shows what your $75 go to. What's the biggest contributors to our budget, which is, if you look at it, it's bonding and insurance and common area maintenance. That's almost 60-something% of our budget. And you could see for yourself what the other ones are. Area improvements are another big piece that we've been doing some improvements, like the improve the sign on Rosemead, the decorations we've done. That's all improvements that we do. So that pie chart just kind of gives you an idea of how we break down the money and where it goes. Once again, the biggest piece goes to things that we think are critical, which are the bonding insurance, which you can't get around, and common area maintenance. And so just kind of give y'all an idea on dollars and cents, which I talked about. If all 204 property owners pay the $75, that revenue for that fiscal year is $15,300. Just to kind of give you a little food for thought, the 24-25, again, you saw that on the sheet I had. We spent $16,572 more than we would have collected. And then just for extra food for thought, the prior year, fiscal year, we spent $18,237, again, more than we collected. And I've mentioned about the borrowing of money. The proposed budget that I showed y'all a few minutes ago, we will again borrow from the revenue. But I will tell y'all that this practice of borrowing, we only have a couple of more years where we can do that until that money kind of runs out. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We, as a board, we're trying to look forward to the health of the subdivision. So some of the things we're doing to try to keep the costs down, we are reviewing major costs. We did go out last year before last, and kind of shop the insurance. We're going to do that again this year. Some of the planned improvements we're going to do this year, we kind of backed off on to try to cut back some of our spending. We've done some things where we use volunteer labor. The Rosemead sign that y'all see coming in on Rosemead, we did buy the letters, which were specially made, but I can tell y'all the rest of that was donated, and the labor was donated. That was, you get my meaning. We're also talking about some things, and Keith's going to talk about this real quick in a minute about, maybe we want to change up how we do a couple of things, like the block party and the back to school pizza party. And, one of the things that is a big driver of our money, y'all don't realize this, but when we send out the newsletter twice a year, those mailings, and not only those mailings, I'll be honest with y'all, there are a couple of homeowners where we're still chasing money for dues. All those mailings, the cost of stamps and all that cost a lot of money. What we really, really want to have is a website that we could operate, where you could go to this website, and the vision is eventually one day you could actually go pay your dues on the website instead of writing us a check. But again, that all costs money.
The surplus of 3,377, will that be able to go into projected budget for next year?
Well, it's just going to be money back into the fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's money we're not going to use.
We're working with 18,000, then instead of the 19,000, we got from borrowing the 4,600.
Right. We're going to
move this to here.
Well, actually, it's going to go back into the total.
Okay.
To the total.
All right.
All right. So here's what we want to talk about and ask y'all to consider. It's when I moved into the subdivision back in '96, the dues was $55, and I can't remember exactly the year it went to $75. I remember being at the meeting at Grace Memorial, and I think Cliff was the president, and it was the same thing. They were having trouble paying for things with that money. So somebody made a motion, and the dues were increased to $75. I could tell you that $75 has been in place over 20 years. Easy. Yeah. I mean, true. So, and just what you said, Ms. Althea, the other bullet I have, the things we're looking at, the insurance, the lawn, and all that stuff continues to increase. And one thing we all kind of shudder every hurricane season, during Ida, we lost the fence that was along Bridgewater. So we actually paid to put that fence back up. It was $9,000. We took a hit out of our budget to pay for that. So we shudder if we have another event like that. Luckily, the man that's building the shopping center where the Stan's Hardware place, he had promised us to put a fence, and he will put the fence up on the other side of Bridgewater once some things get straightened out. We didn't have to do that. Otherwise, there would have been another $9,000 we'd have had to pay. We maintain a list of things we would like to do to improve the subdivision, and we review it ever so often. Biggest priority on our list, we would like to have speed limit signs that match the stop sign design throughout the subdivision. Not sure how many we need or want, but we have a quote currently to do that, and we, looking at seeing if we could do that in a piecemeal basis. And so it kind of boils down to what we asking everybody to consider is that we need to look at an increase in the homeowners' dues. And the board is recommending that we go from 75 to 100. And here's things to consider. If we did nothing and kept the dues where they are, could we survive? I'm not sure, but I will tell you, if we kept it at that, we'd be down to the basics, which would be paying the insurance, trying to keep the grass cut, and very little else. We could make a step change maybe and say, let's increase it by $10, $15. But that really don't get us where we need to do. So what we want to recommend and have y'all consider, not that we're going to decide this tonight, we just want to put it out there, is to consider increasing the dues from $75 to $100 with the next fiscal year, which would be 26-27. Now, for that to occur, we can't make that decision, and this meeting can't make that decision because you have to have a quorum to do that. So one of the things we're going to try to do is, well, we're not going to try, we're going to do is put forth the vote on the subject with the subdivision, but we got to make sure we do it that legally that it meets our covenants where everybody gets to vote and it's based on a majority. We have 204 homes, so whatever that majority equals to would have to approve it. And if it fails, then it's back to the drawing board. So we hope to conduct that vote closer to the fall meeting before dues would be due the following year. We're going to try to get some input from everybody. Like I hadn't mentioned this to the board, but I threw this out there that have a Facebook discussion. People kind of give us feedback on what they think about the subject. We just don't want to do it. We want to kind of show y'all we need to do it, and we want to have backing from not half the subdivision. We really want to have backing from the entire subdivision, because the next board and the next people that's dealing with it 2 years down the road, if we don't do anything, there's not going to be a lot of money left for them to work with. So I'll shut up, answer any questions y'all have on that subject.
So when we have this vote, we have 204 houses.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes quorum?
Well, for the vote, it's a simple majority. So
whoever shows up to the meeting?
No, that's the problem. You're never going to have a quorum at the meeting. I've been here 20 years. We've never had a quorum at a meeting. So we're consulting with our legal representative on how to do that. Is it a mail thing? Do we have to send a certified mail? We don't know those answers right now, but we want to make sure we do it properly and legally. So if somebody challenges on it, that we have the backing. But the answer is, divide 204 by 2 is what, 103 would be the simple majority.
Is that typically, this is the first homeowners association.
Okay.
Is that typically the way things are run with other subdivisions?
Well, I don't know. I think all HOAs have trouble getting a quorum, especially as big as ours. If you read our covenant, I think it specifically says you have to have a quorum to make any decision for the subdivision. But like I told you, I've been here over 20 years. Never.
Bylaws are written.
True, true.
The developer writes them. There are instances in some HOAs and POAs where you can make some minor adjustments and amend things to a certain percentage or extent without having a quorum, but we don't have that in our bylaws.
So do you have a number as to what a quorum, how many does that? Don't know. The bylaws don't state it.
It does. I just don't. I can't remember. I think it's less than. I don't know them. I can find out and tell you. I think I'm trying to remember. If John was here, he'd know. It's not the half, but I think it's somewhere between half. Let's say it's a quarter.
It's on the Facebook page.
It is on Facebook.
The documents.
Yeah,
are
if
on
you
the
go to our
page.
Facebook page, you can find it. But if you need to know, I can tell you.
How many homeowners are delinquent?
Currently, we have six. It is. It is. We are aggressive about chasing that, and
Now, I understand there's a penalty.
there is a penalty. We do file a lien, and once the homeowner, if y'all understand that process, we don't file a lien immediately. We send 3 letters ourselves. We have the law office send a legal-looking letter, and then, if we have to, we place the lien. Now, we currently have.
There's a lien if they.
Yes,
Okay.
and we currently have, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, two liens, and what I said, we had 6 delinquent. I think we got one of those payments, and another one we had a correction. So we're looking potentially at 4 liens. And what happens is when we place that lien, we pay to place the lien through the law office. That's filed. And then the homeowner, if they try to sell or refinance, has to clear the lien, and they pay both costs: the cost to file it, the cost to release it, and all penalties due.
All that for $75.
All that for $75. And then we've actually had some. Year before last, we actually made some money. No. No, I could tell you there's one homeowner, I won't say where, that's never paid. That I saw. Mm-hmm.
Renters, I'm sorry, would the renters be in charge of making that decision, or the homeowner?
No, the homeowner. No, we actually go to the property owner. And when we send the invoices, y'all see, we send that to the property owner.
Most landlords include that in their, maybe they include that $75. They might get it, but that doesn't mean they're not paying. And most of them include.
True.
But $75 is not a lot, and $100 is not a lot, because I have friends that live in subdivisions and they pay more than that.
And I think what we've been trying to show is that we've put forth some improvements.
See where the money's going.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're trying to do.
This is probably a legal question, maybe. Let's say somebody's lived there, like these people who said that has never paid dues. They die, then the money goes to their children. Are the children responsible for paying that? That's still a lien on their property?
Yes, on the property.
Okay.
What happens, whenever any property is sold, the title company comes to us and asks, are they free and clear? Yeah, you can't get out of it. That's what we always say. Even when Bobby was president, he said the same thing. We're going to get our money. It's just when. We're going to get it. And it has happened since I've been around.
And that $75 turns into $1,000.
It turns.
You pay the legal fees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interest and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Heather, did you have a question? Oh, I thought I saw you raise your hand.
Does it, the bylaws on the website?
On the Facebook page.
On Facebook?
Yeah, we don't have a website currently. We want to get there, but not currently. But it is on the Facebook page. And we have copies if you need any. Just give me your address. I could bring you a hard copy if you want it. We can't email them because they're old, and so when you try to, they're too big for whatever reason. So any other financial type questions? Want to be clear? Like I say, look at the budget. We trying to be transparent as we can. That's where the money is. You know, the request to raise the dues is, and hopefully we'll have some conversation about that throughout the year. It'll be toward the end of the year before we try to put forth however that's going to run.
Well, in looking at what you're proposing with $100, you know, from 75 to $100, that's $25 increase. That's going to give you what, right around 10, five grand more?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you go from what is it?
It'll meet the budget.
Yeah,
We won't be.
like the way you look at it. Currently, we get 15.3 based on 75 times 204. So if you go to 100 times 204, that's 20,004. And yeah, and so what that'll do, that'll allow us work the budget, have enough money for the future, and hopefully another 20 years before we try to raise it.
In looking at that, I mean, I may be jumping the gun and everything else, but I don't know. That's one fence.
Oh, easy.
One fence.
Easy. Yeah.
That's not even a fence, because $5,000 don't cover it.
That's why I mean, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You need another $10 added to it. That'll give you 2,200.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's, you know, I'm sure there'll be some people saying, but I mean, I like my subdivision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this subdivision does very well because
Y'all
of
the way
our,
you raise,
because of our bylaws and everybody, they usually pay their
Really?
bills very current.
There's always been very well.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody here would agree to pay $100, and like you said, would probably agree to pay more. Like, I'm sure everybody in here would probably agree to pay the $100, and you're saying even more, right?
Well, I'm just saying, 10, you know, 110, give you $2 grand more.
Yeah.
But
A little less than
But
$2 grand.
these 11 people, 11 houses that's representing here in this county board, that's only 11 houses.
And that's exactly why I was asking the questions about the bylaws. You can, I don't know what it would take to amend the bylaws.
A lot. It would take a lot. Yeah. I should know the quorum question. I'm gonna look that up.
No, that's fine. Just,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with unions. We have constitutional bylaws. And in order to get things done, sometimes
Yeah.
you need to make an amendment, and it's not in an underhanded way.
Right.
It's merely, if you can't get participation,
Right.
the people that elect to participate, and then of course, a lot of times that'll bring more people in
True.
to participate.
True.
In
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all attention on that. Like I say, look at the little thing I handed out, and we'll have more discussion. I don't do Facebook, but I'm gonna get one of them up here that do Facebook. We're gonna start a Facebook discussion to get input from everybody, and then we'll move forward. In the interest of time, I'm gonna ask Keith. Keith wanted to have a quick discussion about.
The thing about the block party, we've had it 3 years in a row. When I first came here, it was pretty nice. It had good participation. But the 3 years we've had it, I think the second year was the best. Last year was terrible. And it's not a big part of the $1,500 in the community builder. It's close to $500. I think we got it down to under $500 last year. But it's depressing sometimes. We get out there and the board got everything set up, and we have 20 homes, 23 homes represented. So what I'm asking is it something we can do, change the way we having the block party? Is a Saturday a bad day? I've walked the neighborhood a lot. I've had some discourse between people that say that I work on Saturdays. So I would want a Sunday? Are we willing to open up any kind of discussion to it? I know we're running out of time. Yes, sir. On the second one, on the second block party we had, I walked the neighborhood and put flyers on every house. I did that already. So any kind of suggestion, I mean, I would love it. Is the times wrong? I mean, is Saturday a bad day?
Yeah, we talked about going to Sunday maybe.
Yeah. There's a lot of sports on Saturday as well. Jason suggested we bring a TV out there. That's possible.
Well, when we do the block party, we try to check for LSU games and Saints games to make sure the kids stuff.
On Saturday or Sunday?
On Saturdays.
Paris Fair Day, so it was an extended weekend.
Sunday
off.
might
We
be
were out
a-
of town.
For the younger family, Sunday would be a better day.
Soccer, volleyball, and something else.
That's something else we can kick around.
It would have to probably be after church,
Yeah,
somewhere around
about
noon or 1.
1 o'clock.
I know we received a letter on recycling, but for some reason I lost mine.
Mhm.
When they pick up tomorrow, is it gonna be every 2 weeks after that?
No, it's still every week. The every 2 weeks is for bulk trash. Like the recycling is still every Wednesday.
Every week?
The trash is still Monday and Thursday. But if you have stuff that don't fit in the bin for trash, that's twice a month. And it's unclear to me how you know which week they come. Yeah, but I did, Jack Francione, he's a real good guy for Coastal. He'll answer questions. The one thing I saw on there is if you have bulk, call them and they will pick it up. And that's what I would suggest.
But the recycling will be every week.
Yeah, it's still every week. Yeah, in the new containers. Yeah, well, it's made me do it more. I've had one, somebody stole my little one. And so I called them one day and they brought me one of those and I called them back. I didn't want that big thing, but that's when they explained to me what was going on. And so I've actually started doing a little more than I usually do.
We have children that ride in the various parades, so they take down the boxes, put it in the recycling, so it was full.
Yeah. There you go. True. It don't have stuff all over the place. That is true. Anything else on the block party? All right. Just real quick, I want to mention the garage sale, April 5th for the subdivision. We are putting ads in the paper. We're going to have signs. Last meeting after the garage sale, somebody suggested we make bigger signs. So we've had banners made that we're going to put out at the entrance to the subdivision. That's the week of the garage sale that says subdivision wide yard sale this Saturday. Yeah, so that'll be out there. So that's
Garage sales,
right.
ads that are on Facebook.
Yeah, Allison's going to take care of all of the social media. In fact, she designed the thing that you saw on Facebook, which we ought to kind of run it on Facebook a couple
It
more
was
times.
also in the newspaper.
In the Independent.
The advertisement for this meeting was in the Slidell Independent, as well as it mentioned the garage sale. That was Thursday, last Thursday. So this week or next week, the garage sale will be in the paper.
All right. I think for the interest of time, I'm cut off. I apologize for running long. I told the politicians they had 10 minutes. I should have known better. Will, I told him he had 20 minutes and they wanted to ask questions. One question I wanted to ask you real quick. Bottle brush trees. We have 20 bottle brush trees when we enter our subdivision, and they're brown, I guess, from the snow.
Exactly right. It's a tropical plant,
So are they gone or will they come back?
honestly, like citrus, I think you still need to wait and see, look for regrowth.
That's what everybody
It's
says.
really cold. They don't handle that. Hopefully you get some sprouts that come out, and then you'll know. I'd still give it, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 weeks to know.
Okay. Okay.
I've seen them brown before. I was like, man, did we just kill all some trees?
I've never seen them that. I've never seen them that brown.
Oh, yeah.
I went out and I broke a couple of twigs and it's dry. And it goes back to what we're talking about. If they are gone, you can imagine the expense oh, no pines, but something. But if they are gone, we're going to have to look at removing them and replacing them, which is going to be a major expense. All right, real quick, anybody on the board got anything to add or say?
We appreciate y'all.
We appreciate y'all coming. Any questions? Any other questions about the subdivision or anything? About the? You know, I talked to him 2 months ago. My main concern, I want my fence back. So I asked him, I said, hey, you know, his name's Pete, where's the fence? So there's an issue with the water between him and the parish. Y'all saw that water draining a couple weeks ago. He said he can't put the fence till the parish finish the servitude. I wanted to ask him about tenants because he had told us he had a couple of tenants along with Little Caesars. One of them was an Italian ice place. And I actually saw the contract that they were going to occupy the other end of that thing. So I don't know what happened there. But I'll try to get in touch with him and see what's going on. It's just a lot better looking than what it was. Huh?
The gate.
Oh yeah, the gate, and they're supposed to just. I mean, I think we've mentioned this that opening that comes on the Bridgewater. There will be a gate there when the fence comes. That the gate will be closed, because they are using. And that's what we told them was going to happen. And so that is a promise that there will be a gate there, and it'll be closed, and it'll be only used for deliveries to come out. Any other questions?
There's one other thing. I thought about this. Facebook is going to eliminate videos that are more than 30 days old starting in July. So we're going to have to create a YouTube page
To put the meeting.
to put our videos, all our media. So we're going to work on getting those downloaded and put on a YouTube page for the subdivision. So all of this stuff, we're trying to keep all of the history, whether we're the, board or not, whoever's next, they'll have everything.
All right. There's nothing else. I appreciate y'all coming. There's cookies and drinks. We don't want them, so y'all help yourself. And there's pens and magnets on the table. Help yourself to those. I got plenty more if y'all want them. Yeah, that'd be a good one, huh? Well, we could say they were connected. They were connected. No, we got it.
I didn't want to keep anybody else any longer. Who maintains the pond area?
The parish.
The parish.
Right.
Who is supposed to maintain the other pond?
Which pond?
The one that's like behind, like water